What's up, guys? It's your man, Donovan Sharpe, and welcome to the live pre-show Q&A ahead of episode 342. And I'm on a little bit late today. I'm going to start the show right around 10:30 rather than my normal slot at 10. Had something unexpected pop up, had to address it, and everything appears to be good to go. So I'm off to a little bit of a late start. So I do apologize for any inconvenience that this may have caused anybody. But this is for my $8 patrons, exclusively for my $8 patrons. And so this is it, live pre-show Q&A. The call-in number is 646-668-2519. That is the number to call. It looks like my computer is dragging a little bit. Probably because I have OBS running at the same time. There we go. All right, very good. Okay, all right, good. All right, yep, that sped it up. I have this big. I've got this massive computer with this massive processor, and a lot of times I get a little bit too big for my britches, and I run more programs than are necessary, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, you know, how fast or how powerful your computer is. You never want to overload it. So yep, that's what's going on. So again, 646-668-2519 is the number to call. If you want to talk to me live on the air about anything, girls, game, sex, relationships, if you have any questions, comments, show ideas, personal stories you'd like to share, and so forth. Give me a call, or you can put your questions in the chat, and I'll be more than happy to answer those as well. There you go. Put that number in the chat. Got a couple of viewers. Excellent. Don't be shy, guys. Text in your questions. Call in your questions. I'm actually going to take a 15-second bathroom break. I'm going to go pee. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I am back. Had to go drain the main vein. Again, 646-668-2519 with your questions, comments, show ideas, personal stories you'd like to share, and so forth. If you want to shoot the shit, or you can put your questions or comments in the chat. Let me make sure the links are working correctly here. Make sure everything is good to go. Okay, never mind. Got it. Everything. Very, very good. James Martinez wants to know about the $25 patron already been charged this month. If I change my pledge to $25, does it charge up front? Yeah, it does charge up front. I think what it does is it charges you the difference. So, for example, you're obviously an $8 patron. So if you were to increase your pledge to $25 a month, you would pay $17 up front. Yeah. So yeah, and from here forward, all of my new patrons will have to pay up front. This isn't something I wanted to do. It was actually a decision I agonized over for quite some time. But I had a talk with a lot of people. One of whom was Alpha Male Strategies, and and of course, listen. You guys are guys like Jay Martin, all you guys are ride or die, man. You guys, I mean, James, you've been a patron of mine for quite some time, but I found that I'd get a lot of patrons like in the first half of the month, and I would increase. My bad, James. I think let me look you up. I think you're. See where you are. What I think you're maybe a $10 patron. I don't have it in front of me right now, but yeah, it'll just charge you the difference. It's not going to charge you the entire amount of $25. But what was happening was content theft, and what would happen is somebody would create a Patreon and they would pledge at the beginning of the month, and then usually okay, very good. So James, when you sign up for that $25 patron. When you become a $25 patron, I'm actually going to send you a link to the consultation form, and we'll go ahead and schedule your 30-minute consultation. And I generally like to have your monthly 30-minute consultation right around the same time every month. If you can't do it the same time every month, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, I'd like to get you to fill out the consultation form and get on the phone with you as soon as possible. So that we can go ahead and get that process started. But yeah, Patreon has these monthly state of the Patreon addresses. They call it hang time. And what it is basically it just gives us, hey, here's what's happening on Patreon. Here's what's coming. And finally they introduced pay up front. They actually did this a few months back, and I was hesitant to do it. But then on the next month's hang time, they said, yeah, a lot of people are really taking advantage of a lot of guys who don't have pay up front. They'll pledge, then toward the end of the month. Thank you, James. And after the show is over, I'm going to get with you, and we're going to schedule your 30-minute consultation. They would delete their pledge or they would just delete the page. So they'd be getting all of the content for free. All they do is they get the content for 25, 26 days out of the month. They delete their pledge the 25th through the 30th or whatever. Then on the 1st or the 2nd, they would re-pledge. Sometimes people would wait, and I would gain like 150 or 150 or so patrons. Then at the end of the month, I'd lose 130. So I had to, yeah. I mean, listen, this is how it is. This is how it is. It really sucks that guys have to do this, but Patreon highly recommended that anyone who has a catalog of creations, a catalog of videos, pictures, et cetera, to go ahead and charge up front. That way, listen, if somebody wants to just pay $5 and just binge listen for 1 month and then bow out, listen, I got no problem with that because they've paid up front. Then after another couple months, they'll pay another $5, or I mean, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, it's content theft, man. Had a lot of guys, pledging at the beginning of the month, and then toward the end of the month, they'd take off their pledge and then pledge at the beginning of the next month. So I had a lot of guys getting content, getting free content. So that's why I did that. Armando is, Armando Moreno is a $25 patron of mine. And Armando and I, you and I, if I'm not mistaken, according to my schedule here, we're going to be talking on Friday afternoon at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely looking forward to talking to you, man. I've actually talked to you. You've called into my show a few times, and you've always got good rhetoric. I like talking to you. So should be a very good consultation. By the way, today's show, still stuck with TSR Primetime. Today's show, 8 reasons she ghosted on you after the first date. This is an episode that no one person requested this, but I see a lot of this stuff going around. I get a lot of questions. Hey, Donovan, I opened this girl and went out on a date and everything was great, but she ghosted on me. I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of questions about why she ghosted on me after the first or second or third date. So this is going to be a very, very good episode for a lot of different people. J Mart wants to know, are the one-on-one video or phone calls? They're phone calls. Oscar wants to know how long you should do monk mode. It really depends. It really depends upon your particular situation. Some guys like to do monk mode for 6 months. Yeah, it depends upon how long you've been living the red pill life. I recommend a guy who's been red pill aware for 90 seconds. Don't pay attention to that. I always recommend that guys who are who have been red pill aware for 3 years or more to do maybe a 1 month monk mode every 12 months every year, just going to monk mode for a month just to kind of hit the reset button. But if this is your very first monk mode, my recommendation is 3 months. If you're in an extreme situation, if you need to completely, because most men who find the red pill, they're not completely clueless about women. They're just 60 seconds. They're not completely clueless about women, but they lack most of that red pill awareness. And then you got guys who are in that position who are maybe morbidly obese. Maybe they're 1 or 150 pounds overweight. That's when I would recommend a probably a 4 to 6 month monk mode. The reason why monk mode is important because it allows you, it's sort of a mind and body cleanse. It's very, very important to do monk mode. Get completely off the grid, suspend all your social media, concentrate solely on improving yourself, get in the weight room, lift weights, consume all the red pill content you can find, just work on yourself. Monk mode is, again, you're hitting the reset button, but monk mode is all about you. 10 seconds. You're not trying to go out and you're not trying to pick up girls. You're not trying to do any of that stuff. You're trying to learn to pick them up. Oscar says, do I do no fat for the whole of the entire monk mode? Absolutely. Do not listen. A lot of guys make the mistake of jerking off during monk mode. Not to say that you couldn't benefit from monk mode if you are jerking off, but you'll find that when you're in monk mode, a lot of times, if you are not, there are many benefits to not masturbating, but if you can make it a goal or a point to stop masturbating starting with monk mode, then guess what? When you're out of monk mode, masturbating is no longer a habit. And then of course you're going to experience all the benefits that comes with not masturbating. So yeah, I would highly recommend that while you're in monk mode, stop masturbating. As a matter of fact, if you want to stop masturbating, maybe you should go into monk mode in order to keep yourself from masturbating. And a lot of guys might think, well, hell, in monk mode, I'm going to be isolated. I'm going to be thinking about girls. Yeah, well, this is where you exercise that self-discipline. And if you find yourself wanting to masturbate, do something. Like do something with your hands. Play video games. Play on the computer. Go lift weights. Anything and everything that you can do with your hands to keep yourself from firing up the computer and jerking off is a good thing. So yeah, very, very good question. Very, very good question. I'm going to do this for about 5 or 10 more minutes before I go live. Again, today's episode, today's topic is going to be 8 reasons she ghosted on you after the first date. 8 reasons she ghosted on you after the first date. It's going to be today's episode is going to be very good, very, very, very informative. Oh my goodness. God, what a morning already. Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, no problem, Oscar. Now, when you say you're going to go for at least 90 days and see if you want to continue after that, are you talking about monk mode or are you talking about not masturbating? I mean, listen, you're going to benefit, either way. Got guys hitting me on Facebook with useless nonsense. I swear to God, man, I get so much. James Martinez wants to know, do I follow anyone for workout tips? No, actually, I don't. My workouts are basic. As you guys all know, I'm a strong advocate of strong lifts 5x5. Yeah, listen, Miami J says Athlean X is great. You know what's interesting? Though Athlean X, that's actually one of the few channels that I am subscribed to on YouTube. I actually subscribed to them quite a while back, and so yeah, Athlete X is good, but Strong Lift's 5x5. Okay, yeah, I mean he's got like I don't know, like 8 million followers or whatever, 8 million subscribers. Yeah, the guy definitely knows what he's talking about. But yeah, I don't generally follow anybody. Again, I do Strong Lifts 5x5. I do that 3 days a week. That's the bench press, the deadlift, the standing overhead press, the barbell row, and the deadlift. And then on the other 3 days, I work on core. Pull downs, Russian twists, things of that nature. So Chase Libo says, I want a squat rack in my bedroom. I got a 7-foot barbell in here, and I'm learning the big three. I spotted a cheap rack for $100. Good idea or bad? Yeah, I wouldn't. And again, listen, you're going to do whatever you want to do, but I don't know. Like, if you can, and home gyms are a great idea. Like, let's not get it twisted. But the only reason that a man should ever put like a home gym together is if he can't get to the gym on a regular basis for whatever reason, and he has the space to do it. Squat racks take up an enormous amount of space. And if you're learning the big three, of course, is the bench press, the deadlift, and the squat. You're going to be doing, and Chase, you're a big guy, so you're probably quite strong. You don't want to be dropping weights on the floor. And again, not to say that floors wouldn't be able to withstand that, but you could really damage your floors. Like, I mean, you could put mats down and all that other kind of stuff, but again, you need a lot of space. Home gyms are probably best used if you put them in put them in the garage or the basement, because the basement right there, that's concrete slab. You're right there on the foundation. Same with the garage. So home gyms are best used on the bottom of the house, right there at that foundation. I mean, listen, if you find a squat rack for $100, if that's what you want to do, if you can't get to the gym, more power to you. But just you're going to have to exercise. There are going to be a few precautions that you're going to have to take. So, and something about going to the gym, there's something routine about it. You get there, you stretch out. There's the drive to the gym, the drive back. It's just really just kind of depends. David. Oh, okay. Well, David Spatar asked a question and then retracted it. So. All right, guys, I'm going to do this for another 5 minutes or so, and then I'm going to go live with today's episode. 8 reasons she ghosted on you after the first date. Again, that is 8 reasons she ghosted on you after the first date. Yeah, James Martinez says, plus hot girls at the gym provides a little motivation. Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, dude. You kidding me? Yeah, dude, when you're around, and this is the thing, man, being at the gym, being around guys who are in shape, being around hot girls who are in shape, yeah, this elevates your testosterone. Seeing a hot girl, feeling your dick respond, that increases testosterone, man. And then, of course, seeing guys walk around who are jacked or guys who are cut, guys who are getting it into the gym, yeah, that certainly motivates you. That's for sure. I Am Alpha put a question in the chat and then he retracted it. Yeah, guys, don't be afraid to ask questions, man. I'm not gonna. Now, when I'm live on the air, I have much less patience because guys just ask stupid shit. But most questions I get in the chat when I'm live on the air, they're reasonable questions. I remember one guy a couple days ago asked, "Hey, is there any red pill strategy or red pill knowledge on if you catch her cheating?" And that was just the dumbest question I think I'd ever seen. If you catch your girl cheating, there is no red pill knowledge for that. You just fucking leave her. That's all there is to it. I mean, listen, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. That's for sure. But it still has to be done because if you stay with a woman. If you stay with a woman who has cheated on you, that is absolutely that's the worst. She'll turn your life upside down. I Am Alpha wants to know, do I have any suggestions on how to keep up the motivation to keep going out and meeting women? That's an interesting question. I've never not I've never not been motivated to go out and talk to girls. Now, listen, there are some days where I'm a little more motivated than others. Um, but again, you have to understand that if you're not motivated to go out and talk to girls, then there's nothing wrong with taking a couple of days off. Because I mean, the grind of game is real. It really, really is. The grind of game is it can certainly wear on you. And if you're going out and hollering at girls, 5, 6, 7 days a week, you can get burned out. The reason why a lot of guys never lack the motivation to go out and talk to girls. What they do is they lack the motivation to go out and talk to girls and experience that rejection. Because if you can walk out your door and every girl you talk to is going to give you her phone number and fuck you, then yeah, you're never not going to be motivated because you're going to be successful every time. But what you're really asking is, how do I keep up the motivation after the fatigue? Just like you said, the burnout is real after the fatigue and the rejection fatigue. Sometimes you just have to take a few days off, man. Like even when I was hollering at girls 5, 6, 7 hours a day when I lived in Vegas, every so often if I hit like a 3-day stretch where I didn't get any phone numbers, no same day lays or anything like that, I just had to take a break. I just had to take maybe the rest of the week off, maybe take a day or two off, hit the reset button, maybe go to LA for the weekend, go to Santa Monica, whatever the case may be, just to kind of clear my head. And then, you go right back at it. So yeah, I don't think I've ever lacked the motivation to go out and talk to girls. But if you ever do get that fatigue, it never hurts. Don't go out and talk to girls if you're not motivated to talk to girls, because you're not going to be as effective. So if you lose the motivation to talk to girls, take a day or two off, take some time off, but not too much. You don't want to stagnate. You don't want to get comfortable in your situation. That's for sure. Adam says, is this acceptable at my age, or do I just stick to logistics? I'm not sure what your question is asking. Is what acceptable at your age, or do I stick to logistics? Yeah. Give me a little more detail, Adam, and I'll be more than happy to answer your question. Chase LeBeau wants to know, what was the hardest thing you had to accept when taking the red pill? Yeah, it's just like the caller said yesterday. The hardest thing that I had to accept is that my relatives that were female were people too. It was a hard pill for me to swallow. It was a hard pill for me to swallow. In terms of like when you learn about women, all women are like that. They're sluts, this and that and the other. There was a very real moment where I had to say to myself, holy shit, like my mom and my sisters engage in that same behavior. And it takes a little while, but that was probably the hardest part for me to follow. Is what acceptable? I still don't understand. He says, that's what I mean. Yeah, Adam, if you would just clarify, I have no idea what you're talking about. He says, there we are. They'll have long conversations with girls over text, and it seems to work out them. Oh, okay. Over text for them. I thought, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. Yeah, the only times that you should be texting a girl, especially a girl that you just met, the only time you should be texting her is for logistical purposes only. Hey, I'm coming over Friday night. Hey, meet me here on Saturday night, et cetera, et cetera. When you get into these long, drawn-out text conversations, she has more of your attention, so she doesn't value it as much, right? So if a girl knows that she has access to you via text all the time, she's not really going to value your live attention. But if you're the guy who's only texting her, hey, meet me here, we're going to go there, come over this day, I'll be over there that day and that time, they know that the only way to have a conversation with you is face to face, and they'll value that a lot more if you're not texting them all the time. So good question. Armando Moreno says Mexican girls do it best. Yeah, my little sign there. I change it every time I'm on the brother pill. I do it to trigger black women. They're very, very easy, very, very easy to trigger. But they've cooled off with the comments and calling in, because at this point they know I'm not really fucking around with them on that level. They know they know I'm quick to hang up on a bitch. All right, guys, the bewitching hour is here. I'm gonna go ahead and end this live pre-show Q&A. Be sure to tune in to TSR Live with Donovan Sharpe, episode 342. 8 reasons why she ghosted on you after the first date. Probably going to go live here in about 10 minutes or so. Of course, you guys are all patrons of mine, so I'll put the link up on Patreon, and we will go from there. So listen, thanks for all the questions, guys. These live Q&As are actually these live Q&As are getting more lively, getting much more active. You guys are definitely asking more questions. So the more the merrier, man. The more the merrier. And listen, of course, if you have additional questions, you can always ask them. You can always ask me on the air, via the phone line, or you can just call in. You can call in, or you can text in your questions. So definitely plenty of ways to get your questions answered. Again, guys, thanks for participating in today's live pre-show Q&A, episode 342. I'll see you guys on the air in about 10 minutes.